Hey guys, it's that time of the day again. So today I was thinking about talking about uh, do you have to really lift heavy to put quality muscle mass on? I'm gonna tell you guys based on my own 40 years of experience in the fitness industry. Depending on who you talk to, everybody's gonna tell you something different. So if you actually talk to the old bodybuilders such as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Frank Zane, Lou Frigno, Franco Colombo, you will see that most of those guys, including the Joe Weider system, they always preach to lift heavy, and they always say that the only way that you're gonna put big muscles is for you to lift a lot of heavy weight. So the first 20 years of my life or my career, I lifted very heavy. And my body weight was really light because I'm a small bone. If you really look at my bone structure, it's actually a small bone. So I got stuck in about 130 pound for almost 5 years when I was young, and then I went up to 145 pounds, and I got stuck there for a couple of years, and then 165 got stuck there, and then ultimately went to 185 and 195 all the way to 205, and which that's just ridiculously too much weight for my bone structure. Even 185 or 190 pound, that's almost about 50 pounds heavier than what I'm supposed to be, or 60 pound heavier. So 60 pound of heavy weight and a bone and a really small bone structure is a lot. But throughout the years, we were always told pretty much by the old bodybuilder or the masters to lift heavy. And actually, as a matter of fact, if you would have been reading the Muscle and Fitness magazine, a lot of the old bodybuilders would tell you that don't even lift if you're not lifting heavy, or if you're just doing it for the pump, don't even go to the gym. So the first 20 years of my career, I lifted very heavy, extremely heavy for a body weight of 135 or 145 pounds. I'm talking about squatting 4.5 plates, or bench, 3.5, 4 plates one time, like it was gonna do something for me. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff in the first 20 years of my career, and pretty much the only thing happened is I had to get about 10 surgeries done, and because I used to listen to those old masters, and I thought that you should lift heavy, and that's what they were telling you. Then after 20 years and all these surgeries, and I'm like, you know what, this can't be good for you. I was having torn tendons, all kind of issues and problems with joints, with tendons, with muscles, and every time I turn around, or with discs, herniated discs and ruptured discs and surgeries and injuries and reattachment of tendons, and I'm like, you know what? Actually. Both of my elbows, I had surgeries on. Both of my shoulders, I had surgeries on. I had surgeries on my back. I had a nerve transplant on both of my elbows, and all I'm thinking about is, man, I don't care who's been telling you this for the past 20 years. This can't be good for you. And the next 20 years, actually, I preached against lifting heavy weight. And some of you might, watching this, you might say, well, maybe you were lifting the heavy weight incorrectly. That wasn't it. That's not the point. Being involved in the industry for 20 years, I knew how to lift the weight correctly. It was just too heavy, and And I did it for the sake of lifting heavy, and even more important, I thought I was gonna have bigger muscles, you know. But then 20 years later, I realized that, you know, it's not really about that. It's all about nutrition. It's all about nutrition. Because in those days, the early 80s, they really didn't know anything about nutrition. We had this one protein powder that Weeder made, and it tasted horrible. It was the worst tasting protein powder you would have ever had in your life. Nasty, horrible. And then we had to put actually honey in it and stir it to be able to drink it. And even then, as soon as it would go down, it would come right back out, and you literally were puking half of it. That's how nasty it tasted. Nobody was talking about nutrition, but everybody was talking about lifting heavy, how heavy to lift. So once again, everybody was talking about how heavy to lift, and nobody was talking about nutrition, you know. Obviously, the next 20 years of my career, I 100% preached against heavy lifting, and I preached for supersets, drop sets, giant sets, volume, hitting the muscles from different areas, confuse the muscle, do 3-4 exercises back to back, and keeping your break between your sets and minimal. So let's say when you're finishing a set, just take a 5-10 seconds break, long enough for that burning sensation to go away, and then do your other set, and then do your other set, and do your other set. Or do 3 or 4 different exercises. Do 3 or 4 different exercises back to back. 1, 2, 3, 4, back to back, without any break between the exercises. Then take 10-15 seconds off, just enough time for the burning sensation to go away, and then hit it again, 3-4 exercises, and then do it again, do 4 or 5 sets of that. Then you will see real quick how your muscle will grow. Not only you're getting lean quality muscle mass, you really don't have to lift heavy and sacrifice your tendons and your joints when you're doing lighter weight, higher reps, good forms, and utilizing the giant sets. So throughout all the years, I realized really that is to put good quality lean muscle mass got very little bit to do with how heavy you lift, and it's got everything to do with what you eat. If you do supersets and giant sets, 3-4 different exercises, then you eat plenty of protein, and you eat plenty of plant-based on top of that, you know, and get most of your nutrition and your micro and macronutrient from plant-based. And obviously, when you're eating meat, if you could eat meat that has been grass-fed, and if you are eating your nutrition, staying away from anything that has been injected or sprayed, and eat organic, non-GMO, superfoods, plant-based. You eating meat, making sure that the meat is grass-fed. Trust me, folks, you will grow. You don't need all that heavy lifting. If you want to look good all year round, and if anybody knows me for the past 39 years, well, I was young when I started. I was 15. But anybody who has seen me in my teens and my 20s and 30s and 40s, and now in my early 50s, they'll tell you that I have always looked in shape. You know, I don't want to say in great shape because I don't want people to think I'm into myself. But I have looked halfway decent all year round, always. That if I took my shirt off, I try to look halfway decent, and that's because of the food. You know, what I really watch what I eat, and since that I've been eating more plant-based, since I've been eating more fruits and vegetables, and if I do eat meat, I'll make sure that it's good meat. I'll make sure that the meat is grass fed, and I always also preach the same thing to the clients that I train. And I was talking to one of them. Actually, as a matter of fact, I went grocery shopping with 4 different individuals in the past 2 weeks, and those individuals that have been eating the plant-based, the superfoods that I've been putting together for them, uh, with their antioxidants and anti-inflammation, and putting, obviously taking apple cider vinegar and ginger and turmeric and many other stuff, early in the morning, and then they eat their awesome superfoods throughout the day, and then if they want to eat meat, as long as the quality of the meat is good, if you really talk to those people, actually I did 2 weeks later, I did an interview with 3 of them, and every single one of them, and we will show that interview a little bit later on, they all told me that their energy level has gone up 20 to 30 times more, not 20 to 30% more, 20 to 30 times more than the way they used to feel before they were eating the superfoods that I have put together for them. So if people are telling you that you need to lift really heavy to look good, you really need to lift very heavy to have good quality lean muscle mass, the answer to that question is that 100% false. That's not the way it is. To have good quality lean muscle mass is to eat properly. The majority of it is that. And when you are doing your exercises, don't wait too long between your sets. Do a set and then talk to somebody for 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and then do a set and then talk to somebody. Do your sets, do giant sets, do 3, 4 different exercises back to back. Make sure that you're not having too much break between those sets. And then do it again, do it again, do it again. And then make sure you eat enough nutrition. And then you will see that not only you are putting good quality lean muscle mass, but you will see that the quality of the muscle, it's very lean, and that's what comes out of that type of a training. You also want to make sure when you are training, you want to make sure that your heart rate is up there, because when your heart rate is up, you're getting 2 benefits out of it. Number one is you're in a fat burning zone. So you're actually burning fat, as you're building lean muscle mass. That's the way I train most of my clients. That's the way I train myself. And this is not something that I came to a conclusion last week or last month or last year. This is something based on years and years of actually training individuals and training myself, and coming to that conclusion that you don't need to lift heavy weight in order to look good or to build lean muscle mass. It doesn't work like that, actually. And if anybody's telling you that, don't believe it, because if you do lift heavy, trust me, in a long term, you're going to have a lot of injuries, a lot of problems, and it's not really even worth it, because every time you injure yourself, now you're going 1 step forward, 2 step backward, 1 step forward, 2 step backward, and you're never ever gonna accomplish your original goals to looking good all year round, because most of the times you're going to be injured, just trying to lift all that heavy weight. And if you're doing it for the sake of strength, that's a different story. If you're doing it for the sake of strength, it's a different story, but if you're doing it for the sake of to looking good all year round, you don't need to lift heavy. So that's my 2 cents as far as that goes. And then I will see you guys next time.